I'm Wallis Zbitnew. This morning I came into the spa and they made me look beautiful on the outside. But what am I like on the inside? Who am I? Who are you? That's a question that a lot of people ask. Sometimes people say, I'm going to go away for a weekend to find out who I am. Well, when you want to find out who you are, it's a good idea to find a quiet place, like a spa or a quiet place in your own home. Even shut your eyes in the dark, in a soft chair, and start thinking about, who am I? Take away your nationality. Take away your parents, your father and your mother. Take away your brothers and your sisters. Take away your husband or wife, your partner. Take away your children. Take away your job. Take away anything that you identify with that's outside of who you are. In fact, sometimes I suggest that you take off all your clothes, take away your rings, take away your name. Take away the name that you have. And just stop and think, close your eyes and think, who am I? In that beautiful part inside of your heart, who are you? And that's where the identity comes in. And most people identify it with something outside of themselves. Most people don't take the time to look deep, deep, deep inside of themselves to discover who they are. So when I look deep inside of myself, who am I? And that is where our thoughts come in. Because James Allen wrote a book 100 years ago called As a Man Thinketh in His Heart, As a Man Thinketh. And in Proverbs, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Or a woman, as a woman thinks, so is she. So what do we think about? Our thoughts come from the programming that we have ever since we were little. When we were little, we heard maybe 180,000 no's and not very many yeses, which creates a lot of negative programming in our thinking, in our minds. And from our programming, we get our belief system. What do we believe? What do we believe about ourselves? What do we believe about others? And from our belief system, we get our attitude. And our attitude is really our perspective on life. How do we view life? And from our attitude, we get our feelings. And of course, from our feelings, we get our behavior, we get our actions. So if someone is prone to losing their temper very quickly, it all begins with what is in their mind, what is the thought. And James Allen, in his book, As a Man Thinketh, said our mind is like a garden. And in that garden, we can cultivate flowers and fruit and weeds. So every time you have a negative thought, think of that as a weed and just pull that out and replace it with a flower. If when it's raining, for example, you say, oh, I can't stand it, it's another rainy day, and if you're complaining or blaming other people, change that and say, oh, it's another beautiful day, and it happens to be raining today, and while it's raining, I'm going to enjoy the rain. It's up to you to decide what it is that you think about, and what you think about is what you become. I've written a book called Mr. Apple Discovers the Four-Way Test. And Mr. Apple had this same problem with his thinking. He had stinking thinking. And he blamed other people for everything, and if he didn't blame other people, he blamed other things. Either the traffic was bad, or if he fell on a slippery floor, he blamed the person who made the floor too shiny. He never ever took the responsibility of thinking that it was his thoughts. Anyway, he met some friends, some other fruit character friends. This is a lively self-help book, and I encourage you to read it. He met Miss Perky Peach, Mr. Lively Lemon, and Mr. Perfect Plum. And on his journey, his life's journey, they helped him to realize that his thinking needed a lot of changing. And you'll be happy to know that at the end of the book, he becomes Mr. Delicious Apple. At first, people used to call him Mr. Crabapple, even to his face. But by the end of the story, he's Mr. Delicious Apple. So let's have a delicious life. Let's have a good life by choosing our thoughts and living the choices that we make.